Doesn't matter how much money you got, how beautiful you are, what your weight is. It doesn't matter. When you lose someone you love, it's like, holy crap, this is really happening. Is this really happening? Your brain goes, no, this isn't really happening. And then you go home and I realized, yeah, my mom's not here anymore. And I can't even say it without crying. She's not here anymore. So what am I gonna do about this? Am I gonna go home and just get depressed and down and stay stuck in that? And what am I gonna do? So I signed on for this tour because it's like, I gotta do something.
On April 30th, Wynonna and Ashley Judd announced the heartbreaking news that their mother, Naomi, died at the age of 76. They later confirmed that the country music legend had died by suicide. Now, Wynonna is opening up to people about how difficult the healing process has been.
I'm telling you that when you deal with suicide, there's so much mystery there. What was she thinking in her final moments? What drove her to say, I'm done? She's really tough. She's a tough sumbitch. And yet she was done and she was in too much pain. And I don't know what to do with that. So I'll tell you what I do with it is, and it's really simple, but it's not easy. Compassion. I think if we were a more compassionate nation, I think that if we put ourselves in other shoes, we would go, oh, I may not agree with you, but I can understand why you feel that way. I'll tell you a quick story. Someone said to me, call this number. And I was like, yeah, but at the time I was kind of like, I'm Wynonna freaking Judd, man. You know, I've got everything. And I go into this whole thing. And then I realized, but step one, hang on, step one. Step one is saying, my life is unmanageable. And it's also saying, I need help. That's not easy to say, but it's necessary even for the grandest of the grand. I need help. I need help with this. Everybody needs help. And so I called this number, and you know what the guy told me? He's one of the greatest grief counselors on the planet. He said, something I needed to hear. You are right where you're supposed to be. I thought I was crazy for thinking what I was thinking. I swear I thought I was crazy, and if I said it out loud, I would be judged and probably canceled. I don't know. But I felt really out of my mind a little bit, and I'll be honest with you, I was thinking all kinds of crazy thoughts about what do I say, what do I do, what do I tell people, what do I not tell people, because I was in this season of what do I share, what do I keep to myself, because I've always been open about my life. I wrote a book, for God's sake, telling everything. And he said, you're right where you're supposed to be. And I thought, who was going to tell me that? Nobody. I think the most dangerous thing we could ever do is to be known, to be fully known, to stand there and say, by the way, under here I have on a push-up bra and it's got some stuff in there to make my, junk go up. It's really scary to stand there and say, I'm really not as great on the inside as I appear on the outside. There's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. And I've been there, but you know what? My fans have really relied on me through the good and bad times to just say it like it is. Coping is a good word. I'll tell you what I know about death. In death there is life. I feel both at the same time. Simultaneously, I feel joy and sorrow. I'm walking a paradox. I'm literally a walking contradiction. I feel joy, I feel pain. I feel light, I feel dark. I have a really wicked sense of humor because I worked with my mother for 8 years and I shared a bus with the woman. I'm pretty tough, but I'm also really tender. And how am I coping? It depends on the sentence. I'm on the phone talking and all of a sudden I'll just begin to weep. And then 10 minutes later, I'm making dinner and I'm talking to my husband about our date night. And then my granddaughter comes and I cry some more. I'm crying a lot, and that's okay. And in the healing times, by the way, it doesn't mean it's a sign of weakness. I think that it's the Holy Spirit thing for me. I feel the Lord, and I feel joy, and I feel sorrow all at the same time. So I don't know about you. I think crying is really necessary. Don't let anyone tell you that crying is a weakness.
Currently, Wynonna is honoring her mother's legacy with a concert tour that was originally planned to be a reunion for the Judds. Wynonna shared how she hopes the shows will help both her and fans heal as they remember her late mother.
I do have a favorite moment. It's very, very tender. Yeah, and I can't say it without crying. So we have it all. We have 5 Grammys. We have millions of records sold. And we have everything, and she's in her sparkly Queen of Everything outfit. And she comes over to me, and she's got the tiniest little hands. And she takes my hand, and she says, "Because of you, my life has been better." And I will never forget that. It was like, whoa. She just doesn't pass that out very often. And then we went on stage in front of thousands of people, and she was prissy and danced around, and it's like, oh my God, her hair's perfect, I did it. But yeah, she took me by the hand and said, "My life is better because of you." You just don't forget that stuff. And the good news is it starts to come back really good after a while. You get through the somebody said, "Are you angry?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I'm angry." You know, my granddaughter was born like 12 days before she left. So I have anger, but then I realize after the compassion and all the pieces that there's some real joy there, and to celebrate the joy as much as I can. And that's part of the reason I'm doing the tour. I signed on to do this thing called the Judds Tribute Concert with a little bit of a Wynonna wink, and 27 songs plus one that I just added yesterday makes 28 songs. Because I want to give the fans a beginning and a middle and an ongoing, and I want them to literally be sitting there in the audience and say, "Oh my God, that's my favorite song." That's my goal, right? Is to also speak to I've never seen the Judds. I don't really know much about Wynonna. Wow, she's really sassy. I think I'll go and download some of her music. And there might be somebody in the audience that goes, "You know, I never have liked country music, but I've always been fascinated by the Judd family." I get that a lot. I'm just interested in celebrating this time. And I think that music is a healer. I've always believed that. And so this is my opportunity to step into a situation that I don't know that I am ready to do what I'm about to do, but I think it's going to heal me. I'm looking forward to showing up and walking out on stage, and I have such terrifying jitters and all the stuff on your wedding day, and you walk down the aisle, you're terrified to say "I do" in front of God and everybody, but you do, and you feel this, ah, you know, and you just feel the good stuff. I'm ready to feel the good stuff.
For a woman as unique as Naomi Judd, it can be difficult for even her daughter to sum up her impact.
My mom always made up for how insignificant she felt, or lonely, or sad, by putting on rhinestones. So maybe her greatest legacy was "In the darkness there is light." She used to say this all the time, this is so corny, but she'd say, "If you find yourself in hell, throw your head back and yell, 'This is hell.'" But she would do it in a way that you almost felt like it was okay, because she just had this ability to, you know, put a pep in your step, man. She was a single mother. You know, Ashley talks about this a lot. She was a single mother who was sexually harassed, fired because she wouldn't, you know, do things, and she never gave up. She just never gave up. We would go to the White House, and I'd say, "Mom, I swear to God, if you so help me, correct me in front of the President of the United States, I will say something," you know, and she would say, "Don't you even talk back to your mother like this." And we would meet the president, and she would correct me. And she was always so determined, no matter what happened to her, being raped, being fired, being, you know, forgotten, you know, a single white female raising 2 babies by herself on welfare, food stamps. That's no joke. But she never gave up, and I don't ever really remember her complaining. I just don't remember her complaining. She would say, "I'm too blessed to be stressed."